Hello and welcome to Valuechain News. I am Naomi Oleribe. First, the headlines. Federal government declines consent to the proposed sale of ExxonMobil assets to Seplat. War reports MPA partners with NNPC to relay pipeline obstructing channel. Oil and gas stakeholders opt for homegrown technology solution. And now, the news in detail. The federal government has declined its consent to the proposed acquisition of oil and gas assets belonging to Mobil Oil Producing Nigeria Unlimited (MPNU) by Seplat Energy. The government, among others, cited overriding national interest as one of the reasons for rejecting the deal. The chief executive, Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission (NUPRC), Engineer Gbenga Komolafe, stated this in two separate letters addressed to the chairman and managing director, Mobil Producing Nigeria Unlimited, Mr. Richard Layang, as well as the immediate past chairman of Seplat Energy, Dr. ABC Ojako. Seplat Energy had in February this year announced its acquisition of oil and gas assets belonging to MPNU, but the deal was subject to ministerial consent and other required regulatory approvals. However, few weeks later, it was reported that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPC) Limited had opted to exercise its right of first refusal (RFR) on the sales of the assets, thereby putting the transaction on hold. But Komolafe in the letter stressed that regardless of the mode of the transaction, Mobil Oil still remains to all intents and purposes the assigner of the assets under the Nigerian law. The letter from the NUPRC stated the position of the President Muhammadu Buhari, who is the substantive Minister of Petroleum Resources, on the deal. In a bid to deepen the channel leading to war reports hitherto hindered by the NNPC pipeline, the Nigerian Ports Authority (NPA) said discussion is at an advanced stage with the NNPC for the relaying of its pipeline from the present 7.5 meters to about 14 meters. Managing Director of NPA, Mohammed Bello Koko, who disclosed this in Lagos, said that before the relaying of the pipeline, the authority has commenced remedial dredging of the channel to make it navigable for visiting ships. Bello Koko said that 2 consultants have been contracted for actual dredging to commence. The channel has an NNPC pipeline buried about 7.5 meters, so you cannot go further than that. But the discussion has started with NNPC to see how that pipeline can be buried deeper, which means we have to dredge deeper to get to 10 or 14 meters depending on how far the pipelines are buried. Oil and gas local content drivers in Africa have advocated for a robust approach to foster more homegrown sustainable technology solutions. They also advocated for deliberate investment in research and development with a view to focusing on building a more realistic economic framework for sustainability and professional capacity across the African continent. The Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board (NCDMB), Engineer Simbi Wabote, made the call while moderating a local content session at the ongoing 8th African Petroleum Congress and Exhibition holding in Luanda, Angola. Elaborating on the theme Energy Transition, Challenges and Opportunities in the African Oil and Gas Industry, Wabote expressed worry that if all international oil companies (IOCs) cut off their funding and technology from Africa, the continent would be stranded. He called for strategic and sustainable collaboration and partnership between African petroleum producing countries to drive the process. The NCDMB boss noted that Africa's oil is fast becoming a non-existential item, adding that the continent must now explore strategies to address the challenges of producing its hydrocarbon resources, create financing and technology, especially by leveraging research and development. As rising fuel costs continue to hit the South African economy, the African National Congress (ANC) is contemplating pushing for an increase in oil and gas exploration, setting itself up for a fight with anti-fossil fuel lobby groups. This new policy position is detailed in the ANC's draft discussion document on economic policy obtained by News 24 ahead of the party's policy conference in July. In the document, the ANC cited geopolitical tension in Eastern Europe, which caused high fuel prices, and the failed interventions as reasons for the renewed vigor in wanting to increase oil and gas exploration. In our country, fuel prices have been reaching record levels every month with no end in sight, the document stated. The geopolitical tension in Eastern Europe has been the biggest cause of the high fuel prices. The imposition of sanctions on Russia has meant that 60% of Russia's diesel exports no longer have a market because European countries have stopped buying from them. The party argued that the second cause of high oil prices was the stance taken by OPEC Plus to manage increases in the production of crude oil in support of higher prices, the ANC document explained. China is seeking to replenish its strategic crude stockpiles with cheap Russian oil, a sign that Beijing is strengthening its energy ties with Moscow just as Europe works towards banning imports due to the war in Ukraine. The crude would be used to fuel China's strategic petroleum reserves, and talks are being conducted at the government level with little direct involvement from oil companies. Details on volumes or terms of a potential deal have not been decided yet, and there is no guarantee an agreement will be concluded. The US and UK have pledged to ban Russian oil imports, and the European Union is discussing similar steps, but crude from the OPEC Plus producer is still flowing to willing buyers, including India and China. In a bid to complement federal government's efforts at taking 100 million Nigerians out of poverty, the National Agricultural Mechanization Cooperative of Nigeria, NAMCON, has empowered 1,500 residents of Kaduna spread across the 23 local government areas of the state. The target is to train and empower the beneficiaries, mostly women, in poultry farming. President of NAMCON, Dr. Aliyu Waziri, made the disclosure to newsmen in Kaduna at the inauguration of National Agricultural Mechanization Cooperative of Nigeria, Kaduna State Chapter. The program will assist the government in alleviating poverty and also help them curb food insecurity across the nation. We are providing 1 million jobs and avenues for people to create jobs for themselves, he said. Before we end the news, here's a recap of our headlines. Federal government declines consent to the proposed sale of ExxonMobil assets to Seplat. War reports NPA partners with NNPC to relay pipeline obstructing channel. Oil and gas stakeholders opt for homegrown technology solution. And that's the news. I am Naomi Oleribe. Good evening.